Hello and welcome everybody. This is my 54th video and welcome to my channel. I am Lady Calimere and I am doing a presentation on the Hindu god of fire named Agni. Have anyone ever heard of Agni? Well, he's a very interesting god, and in the Rig Vedas, one of the most popular god in there, and he was very popular into the time of the Upanishads. But 8 books out of the 10 books in the Rig Veda praises Agni. In fact, many of the opening parts of the Rig Veda was in praise to this god of fire. Now, Agni is very important. And here we have a card. As you can see, I made this statue out of clay and a wooden box that used to be a toothpick box. But this is what I did. I made it sort of like this. And as you can see, he has the blue, remember, like the blue flame, and gave him blue sandals here. And the long black hair. A red body. Now, you're going to probably wonder why I have Kali in the background and we have Shiva Nataraja. In his hand, here, we see him holding Agni, fire. So Agni is sometimes seen, well, he's seen as with 3 legs, 7 arms and hands, 2 heads, 7 flames coming out of each mouth. He has that, you see that yellow? That's actually supposed to be ghee. And ghee is clarified butter. He has long black hair, and sometimes it's like the hair is standing up, the black hair, and 7 rays emanating from his body. Now, if you ever seen smoke, of course you've seen smoke, you see the black rising up. Well, that represents his black hair. He has dark eyes and dark eyebrows. And there it is. Now, his 2 faces represents one of his benign face and one of his more of his malicious face. And also it represents the 2 heads represents life, and the other one represents immortality. Mortal life and immortal life. So he has many different forms, and his most ferocious form is the Kavyad. And the Kavyad means flesh eater. And that deals with the cremation fire. So Agni is the one whom he is actually fire. He is the fire of lightning. He is the fire of the sun. He is not the sun, but he is the fiery heat and light. And we're just talking about Agni. We're not talking about Surya right now. He is the fire that is used to cook with. He is the fire that is used for sacrifices. He is the fire that is offered in prayer. He is also the fire in our guts, in our stomach, I should say. The stomach, or the digestive fire that digests our food. In that part, he represents the part of that that helps us metabolize our food in our stomach. And he exists in all beings that digest food. Agni was said to be, his first birth was in heaven, his second birth was on earth, his third birth is in water. So he exists in water, the fire in the water. He exists on earth, and he exists in the heavens. And he connects heavens with the earth. He connects the living with the dead. And he connects the living with the gods. He brings the offerings to the gods as he accepts offerings with fire. And I should really have a candle here, but I'm a little bit afraid because we got a curd lady boss this time. Oh boy, here she goes after my statue. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So he is a friend. He also has a very come on. He also has a malicious aspect, as you know what fire can do. The same fire that can cook our food can burn our house down. The same fire that can keep us warm can kill us. Agni treats everyone as equal. He treats the rich the same way he treats the poor. He treats the old the same way he treats the young. He doesn't care about your nationality, how much money you have, what power you have, what caste you are, what class you are. He doesn't care if you're man or woman. He treats you all the same. And he says he lives in every hearth, whether it be a shit shack or a palace. So, whether it's a homeless person keeping warm in the street with a garbage can on fire, to a rich person with modern conveniences, it does not matter. Agni will treat us all the same. So what does this card have to say about him? I'm not going to read the Sanskrit. O fire, O self-effulgent, omniscient Lord, cast out from us all debasing and sinful desires and habits, and lead us by the path of righteousness to the attainment of all true knowledge and worldly riches. For this we offer unto you profound obeisance and praise. So blessings include improved digestion, very true knowledge and worldly riches, he helps with that. Acquisition of inner powers through yoga, the yogic fire, and also the kundalini. Freedom from debasing desires and habitats. So you're going to wonder why I have Kali in the background, not just for decoration, but also because it is also said that Kali is one of the flames that comes out of Agni's mouth. She's one of the 7 flames. So, in ritual, it is said that you light, this is in Hinduism now, not to be confused with witchcraft, Druidism, Wicca, or anything else like that. In the East, you have the fires facing east to do sacrifices to the gods and goddesses. And to the south, we have the fire to give sacrifices and offerings to the dead, because the dead, the location of the land of the dead is south. And in the west is where the fire should be, where you cook your food. Now, if you're my stove just happens to face the west, so, but that was just like a traditional thing. Now, Agni himself is one of the guardian gods, and his place is in the southeast. His direction is the southeast. And Agni's, of course, his element is fire, and he's also very solar. Agni is also described as the mouth of the gods, through which our offerings and our sacrifices that go into the fire reach the divine deities. He is counted among the great elements, which is spirit, fire, water, wind, and earth. Agni, there were many, like I said, there are over 200 hymns to him in the Rig Vedas, and he was considered very important. In fact, before Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, there was a trinity that dealt with Surya, Indra, and Agni, in which, he was the last part of the trinity, in which later Shiva takes that place of Agni, of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So like I said, later on in the Upanishads is where Agni becomes more subordinate and not as important and demoted. So Agni was also cursed. He was cursed by the sage Brigu, that everything he touches he will destroy. And this scared the crap out of Agni. So what happened was, according to the Mahabharatam, the Mahabharatam. Mata means mother. Sorry, Maha means great. Bharatam. Agni was cursed to have an insatiable desire to consume because of Brigu. Now, Brigu was one of the earlier great sages. He's one of the earliest. And he set up Agni to guard his pregnant wife, Puloma. So one day when Brigu was not there, Agni was set to guard him. But Agni told her ex, Pulomam, that Brigu had left and where Puloma was. Well, Puloman took advantage of that, and he took the form, he shapeshifted into a boar and abducted her. She was crying and frightened, and she was in such a state where she gave premature birth to a beautiful boy. Now, Puloman got frightened at this, so he fled. He was like, I'm out of here. Now, Brigu finds this out. And then he finds out who the big mouth was. And he was pissed. He was really pissed. And he cursed. He said, Agni, I curse you that everything you touch you will burn. You will have a sensational desire to consume. Now, Agni was freaked out. He was extremely freaked out because he knew he could end up destroying everything, the whole world. But Brigu did this out of anger. So he goes to Brahma, the creator, the father, and he said, please help me with this curse. But Brahma, for whatever reason, did not totally lift the curse, but he changed it. He tweaked it. So Brahma, the creator, said, from now on, what you touch, you will bless. You will have the power to purify anything that you touch. So fire purifies. Fire consecrates. But fire is also still can destroy. Fire will change things. Fire will make our food taste better. In fact, what separates us from the animal kingdom is fire. What has used to protect us is one of the things is fire. What has made civilizations was fire. It was you, little boo? Okay, it was little boo. Lady boss, she's little boo. So, it was fire. He's also, I want to say, he's the fire that comes from weaponry. He's the fire that comes from the nuclear blast. Must you, Lady Boss? It is the fire. He's also the fire that could be seen on the tails of comets. He's the fire that erupts from friction. In fact, it says that he has 10 mothers who were sisters. And that represents our fingers, and that his mother and father is also 2 sticks where they're rubbed together, but they could not nurture him. So as fire, what fire does is that he consumed his mother and father, which represents the 2 sticks. Come on! She's looking to destroy this. And I made this. It was hard to do. And I put a lot of detail work in it. You know, it's a good thing I don't use notes, because I'd be busy reading from my notes and my shit would be destroyed right on video. So, in one of the stories, it is said that Lord Brahma is his father. Now, Agni, there are different conflicting accounts about his origin. That he's actually one of the 6 mental children, one of the 6 thought children that Lord Brahma willfully created in his mind and made manifest. And Agni, this god, the fire, is usually associated with the sage Angrias, who is the inventor of many Vedic verses and rituals and prayers and hymns. Agni, so Agni's associated with him, and his name was Angiras. Sorry, not Angrias. Angiras. I know it's spelled A-N-G-I-R-A-S. Come on, why do you try to knock over the camera? So his wife, Agni's wife, is Svaha. I got distracted. I was going to change that for later. Agni's wife is Svaha. And you notice how some of these prayers ended with Svaha? Svaha is... Oh, come on. Svaha is a goddess of fire. I'm sorry, Lady Boss. I didn't mean to yell at you. Come on. Come and torment me. So Svaha is his wife. And in fact, that Agni loves her so much that when you throw things into the fire, you should say Svaha. One of the things is Svaha, else usually he's just not going to really accept and give it to the gods. So Svaha is said to be the daughter of Daksha Prajapati. And she longed to be with the beautiful Agni. She desired him as her husband. So when this opportunity arose, when there were 7 great rishis that performed the yajna, my mouth is dry, in which this god Agni was propitiated. So the wives of the sages, who were beautiful, immaculated, and Agni was swooning over them. But Svaha took this opportunity to offer herself to Lord Agni in the guise of each one of these wives. So then he had to take her as his wife. So there's another story that connects him with Shiva and Parvati and their son Kartikeya. He's also called Subramanya. And what happened is that Parvati and Shiva were having sex, but he pulled out, and his seed was so hot that it threatened to burn anything in its presence that it touched. So Lord Agni, the god of fire, took the seed, his sperm, and deposited it in the Ganges, and in which, in this part, he gives birth to Subramanya. So I'll get into that one day when I talk about this other god. So there is not a lot of temples dedicated to this god. Like I said, his popularity went downhill eventually. Well, people still worship him, of course. So in the body, in our body, our digestion, our acid represents him. And in our body, he also represents our eyes. He deals with vision. Agni deals with our vision. He's also, another thing, he is the light around the gods and goddesses. He's their aura. He's also their nimbus. You see the light around Kali? In the perspective of that, we would say that's Agni. Now, we're just looking at the power of Agni. I don't go over that's the power of Kali, her light, and this. We're talking about Agni right now, okay? So, Agni is both creative and destructive. He has an insatiable desire to eat. Now, the forms that he has is, of course, the light of the sun, lightning, or ordinary fire, destructive fires such as forest fires, fires like nuclear blasts, so on and so forth with that. The ordinary fire, and the fire of friction. Fire, now the Upanayana, which is the fire that is given to a student during the initiation ceremony. The fire that is kept in the house to cook is the southern fire of the ancestors used in certain rituals, and also the cremation fires. He's there at our birth, the Diya fire, and there at the wedding, again a Diya flame, in which the couple, my husband and wife, walk around the sacred fire 7 times. So there's another story that he was appointed to be the fire, the messenger of gods and mortals, and to take the sacrifices to the gods, and he didn't want this ability, so he hides, and he hides in the deepest of oceans. The fish gave him up, and he was found, so he cursed the fish, that the fish will be easily caught by humans. Another story is where the frogs snitched on him. So it's something, he cursed the frogs, and then there's other stories that it was the elephants. But another story is that there was parrots, the big mouth parrot. Quack, quack, Agni's there, quack, 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 Agni's under the water. So what he did was he cursed the parrots so that, yeah, they could talk, but their voice are distorted. Quack, what are you doing to me? Quack. Okay, I'm so stupid. So his animals that he's associated with are red horses, the black ram, and parrots. In fact, one of his was a black goat or ram that he rides. And actually, this mount is named Rama. Nothing to do with Rama the god, which is an avatar of Vishnu. Nothing to do with it. Sometimes his steed is pulled by, his chariot is pulled by red horses, by red steeds. So he's also very kind, and he's a bountiful giver of boons and gifts, of fame and fortune, money, power, protection, and to help purify and change things. Agni is a friend of all, loved by so many in their homes. So we know that even in the Vedic times that he has the ability to be very violent, urged by the wind, the rushing winds. He spreads through dry wood and he causes them to burn with a mighty roar. And black is his path, Agni, who is changeless with glittering waves. And he runs like a bull, eager to smash down trees. And with the mighty teeth of his flames, wind-driven. And through the forest he spreads. And at this point, everyone's equal to him to be destroyed. Tree, insect, animal, don't matter. So there's also a very violent form of him where, like I said, the Kravyad, but also where he's eating people. And what he does is he sharpens his tusks and he puts, not just people, his enemies. He has 2 iron tusks, which he sharpens, and then he puts his enemies in his mouth and he chews them up. So, like I said, in some images, he's even shown with long flowing hair, but I forgot the pot belly. Sometimes he has 6 eyes. Sometimes he's actually seen with 6 eyes. Sometimes 4 horns. And like I said, 7 arms, 7 hands. And sometimes he's seen just like this, as you can see, but I gave him shoes. Made him a little bit different. His pot belly denotes his his love for rich and oily, fatty foods, and that the sacred flame is made with ghee, an oil lamp where you just put the wick into the oil. But you also can make candles, and you can buy ghee, but it's a lot cheaper to make it yourself. You melt butter. Better off with saltless butter. Just slowly melt it over. It's better to do it over a double boiler and slowly scoop out all the solids till you get the oil and don't have any solids, and the oil is your ghee, and you could put it in candle molds and put it in the freezer. Of course, you want to put a wick in it before you form it, and you could form it in any form you want, and there's your ghee candle. Or you can just use the oil and just put a wick in it, the ghee oil, And that is the food of the gods. Don't use vegetable ghee though. When I was learning, the what I learned is, especially, what's his name, Swami Hari Prasada, he said, don't use vegetable ghee. Use ghee. Use butter ghee. And that is the food. I mean, you can burn that as food for Parvati, food for Shiva, food for Kali. So, his banner is smoke. Like I said, a ram is his vehicle, named Rama. And Rama is like, I'm sorry, the ram is pretty much a typical sacrificial animal. And his association will denote his connection to sacrificial animals and rituals. So other things is that he's also called in some birds that he is the twin brother of the king of the gods, Lord Indra. And Indra is like the great king. Hail to the king, right? And in terms of importance, just, right next to Indra. And one day I'm definitely going to do a video on him. I did a Facebook Live on Indra. So another story shows him that he is the son of the sky god Dios, D-Y-U-S, the son of the sky god and the son of the earth. Agni is both domestic and wild. Agni's color, of course, is the color of flame, especially red, but any color of flame. Like I said, he represents all fires. In the Rig Veda, he's also identified with Rudra. And Rudra is a very ferocious form of God that was the forerunner god of the Lord Shiva. And his presence is still invoked in many ceremonies. And Agni can help you. Agni, like I said, is a gift giver. He can hear your prayers. He can purify. He can consecrate. He can help you with money. He can help you with wealth. He can help you with status. Agni can help you with that inner spiritual fire. He can help you with inner spirituality, inner understanding, the inner alchemy. He can protect you. He can be used to strike your enemies if need be. And He could be used to help you, like with the vision, but also spiritual vision, to be able to see things that you need to see, to bring to help. He's good with any rituals, prayers, and divination. Now, you can burn incense and even offer that to Agni. There's also a thing called samigri. It's a type of herbs that are used in, especially when you do mantras, after every 10 japa mantra, like say you're doing Om Namah Shivaya on the 10th, when you say it, you throw the samigri into the fire. So, Agni pretty much is a messenger god. He can also be used for flame divination. So if anyone, or used for, you know, looking at the candle of how it burns and looking at the flame, or scrying into the fire, or doing certain scrying with it, you can ask him for those things. Agni has a way of joining people together, and he brings a wonderful magical glow to any gathering. Has anyone done drumming and dancing around a bonfire? Bonfire has an interesting thing. Story was actually called a bonfire, and now it's changed to bonfire. And I was talking about the cremation of the dead. Agni, of course, I mean, since he is the flame of the sun, the heat of the sun, he is associated with the sun god Surya, which I did a presentation already. Look it up on my channel, the god Surya. You'll see it. He has a wonderful ability, like a laser, to cut through ignorance. He has the mental quality of fiery brilliance. He's a great symbol of ultimate consciousness. He's a powerful ally, but also a powerful enemy, if need be. Fiery mental energy to help you create. He represents you to take the practice of help you cultivate tapas, which is the heat caused by the friction of reigning in the mind, and you're redirecting that energies, that thoughts, and the senses. When you are established in tapas, well, your impurities are annihilated, destroyed. The antakarana, which is your instrument, your inner instrument, that's made up of your intellect, your mind, your faculty of discrimination. And we're not talking about bad discrimination, to discriminate between things, and which becomes purified, and you're sort of like made whole, purified. So we see that the power of Agni to raise that heat, which also the heat of the Kundalini, the fiery serpent. Now, Agni is an ancient deity, and his, like I said, his first fiery birth was lightning, and then through man, when we created fire, through humankind creating fire. Then, of course, his dirt birth was, like I said, under the oceans. We could say that Agni is also the fire of the volcanoes. That's fire, right? Agni is the brilliance of distant stars, which our sun is a star. There was so many, there's different stories about Agni, which is really interesting. Agni has the ability to be used against malevolent forces, where he brings light. Where he can be used to bring light in a time of darkness. Without fire, in the cold, oh, we're dead. So what else shall we? I'm going to sum this up. There's so many stories that you can look him up. And Agni, some people see him literally as the, like, some people feel that he's electrical impulses in our nerves, because it's electricity, because he is a god of electricity. Whether you have a hearth keeping you warm, or you have an electric heater keeping you warm, or central heating, he is electricity that powers your air conditioner, your refrigerator. He is electricity. He's electrical fire. So he's the fire in your toaster. He's electrical heat, I should say, the light. Wouldn't say exactly fire, but you know what I mean, the heat and the light that warms your toast, cooks your food. He could be seen as the heat of the microwave, of cooking your dinner, or just electricity, which give us modern convenience, which runs through our computer, charges our cell phone. So all that good stuff. So he was the fire of napalm, the heat, the fire of the flamethrower. So we see how important, even today in our modern life, how Agni is still very important to us. If you would like to see that electricity is Agni. And remember, Agni helps carry our prayers and wishes to the gods and goddesses, to the deities whom we're calling. Now, we have what was I going to say? So life would be really difficult to live without the power of fire and harnessing electricity and all this types of fire, right? So there's something else I wanted to talk about. Blah, blah, blah. I can't remember. So, Agni is, he can help. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Agni can help purify us even after death. He can, in Hinduism, there's things like sins and stuff that he can purify us so that we don't have to reincarnate. He can help us do that. He can help purify us, help us to have non-attachment, where we could become more spiritual beings. He can burn away karmic issues with us. I'm sorry, I don't write anything down. Now, Agni deals with the mineral kingdom. So, with like I said, volcanic activity and different minerals. So, we can offer different crystals like igneous rocks, volcanic, and even lava rocks to Agni. Agni also I deal with the mineral kingdom, so you could give like gemstones and metallic ores, particularly gold, which doesn't tarnish like silver does. So you can give him that. You can give him different crystals and different lava and different, especially different like dragon's blood calcite. Nearly said resin. Dragon's blood calcite. You can give him fire opals, fire agates. So anyways, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you really like this and my channel, please subscribe so you never miss another video. And also, if you like my video, please donate money to animal charities. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. Namaste, and as always, blessed be. I appreciate you all.